Hello, good morning, guys. Let's start with today's session. Thank you so much for joining today's session on Build with AI. And also, it is a Sunday, and still you guys have joined, so that is a great. I know it's very hard to join on Sundays to any sessions and all. So first of all, we have our first speaker, Jay Thakkar, who is an research analyst, as well as he is also pursuing internship in the AI field as well as. So today he'll be delivering the session on Gemini, using Gemini for the AI in the nation of. I'll just so I'll over to Jay. Please start, Jay. You can start with your session.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
All right. So, you do Windows. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is visible now.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. So, first of all, we are into the generative AI race now. So, everyone is into having their open source and just like you. People is required to have one content. After that, we have so much language models coming into the picture, like Gemini. We did have text Bison, chat Bison, which were part of that. We also have a Llama, Meta Llama, which is one of the best open source models available. We have Gemma as well. We have Mistral as well. So these all are large language models. What they do is they understand and interpret human language as we do. They are trained on unstructured data rather than structured data, and they are a general purpose models. So we can use them on large variety of tasks rather than a specific task. Just like if you have experience with machine learning, you train a model for specific task only in machine learning, just for like for a regression problem or for a classification. But in this case, large language models can act as a model for both of the part. They can also help you in classification, they can also help you in regression. So my target for today would be to understand how to integrate them into your applications, how to implement large language models in your applications for real-time and updated applications so that user can use it easily as well. So who am I? I am a research scientist at Pioneer. I am a research analyst at Pioneer, research intern at Symbiosis Center for Applied AI. I also organize TFUG Surat. I have given more 24 talks from past year, and I have three research paper already published. Third one is in progress, but it will take time, but it is already published. It's already accepted by the journal. So what is Gemini? Gemini is a Google large language model. It is trained on very big data set. It is one of the biggest model available in market. It has an advanced language understanding. It can be more. It is a really powerful model. I have used it. It is one of the first multimodal language model. Multimodal means it can understand images. It can understand audio. It can understand text as well. Unlike many other language models which are not available for this, Gemini is a multimodal language. It is a contextual awareness model. So if you give it a sentence, it will give you the entire contextual relevant output. It won't give one answer for one word and another answer for another one. It will be a contextual aware output. It is highly scalable. If you have used any language model which is a core, which is not open source, you will have faced this error that they are not scalable. They do give many errors when we send many requests and many tokens which are generated. But in this case, there is no limitation. You can scale it both horizontally and vertically. And when it comes to production environment. And third is it is integration. It is integrated with Google services. So if you are just using Gemini via interface as well, it can read your emails. It can give you output for them. It can also edit your documents. It can also make a Google spreadsheet for you. It can do many things, and they all are interconnected with it. So you don't need to literally go to Google Docs to ask him to edit something. You can ask Gemini model here. They will integrate it there. Let me know if there are any questions. I will be coming back. Hello, sir. Hey, Pranav. Yeah, so I will be having a 2 minute breaks between slides so that in case if anyone has any doubts, just type it. I can address it here right away. Someone did raise. Oh, okay. And now, what is Google AI Studio? So, Google AI Studio is just like an experiment studio. What you can do is you can try integrating your LLM and models for development, what you are trying to do using Google AI Studio. So, if you go to aistudio.google.com, even before you implement anything, you can literally try and understand what you can do. So, just like let's say I am considering it as a just now if you type something, hey, can you help me with please they both are preview models. In preview models and beta releases, you should never use them in your production. Hey, can you help me with understanding how transformers work? This is just a question you can ask to Gemini as an interface. But if you are building a chat model, you will be knowing that a user will input a prompt and it will give you an output. So before even integrating them, you can try it on aistudio.google.com. How will the responses will be coming? What will be there? You can do that. You can reduce temperature to have less creative outputs. And if you increase the temperature, if you decrease the temperature, you will have less creative outputs and more precise outputs. If you increase the temperature, you will have more creative outputs and less precise outputs. Now you can see again, there would be a difference overview here and overview here. Transformers are deep learning models that are revolutionized NLP and other fields. They process sequence of data by capturing relationship between the elements. They are seen similar. Yes. So you can try them out. This is just a text prompt. You can create a chat prompt as well. So chat prompt does have a history saved in it, while this won't have structured prompt won't have it. So you need to create. So you can create a chat prompt and you can say, "Hey, how are you?" Just a simple query. I don't feel good in bed. What can I help you? So you can try it out before even you integrate into your applications. Now, secondly, if you are happy with your outputs, you can just click here and whatever technology you want to integrate it, just click on here. You will get the code what you want to use. If you are using Kotlin and an Android, then Kotlin, Swift, and this, JavaScript, and this, Python, and this. Another good thing about this would be you can directly build with Vertex AI as well. So if you click here, you can have all of this to Vertex AI and do similar things there as well. You have documentation, prompt gallery, everything here. So before even you start integration, you can have a look here and see what really you want and what you can do. Do not use Gemini 1.5 Flash or 1.5 Pro for now. They are still in beta releases. You always should use one which are publicly available. They are more stable than both others. So as you can see, Google AI Studio has a really user-friendly interface. It has pre-built models available for us to directly implement it. It has an auto ML capability which automates the process of fine tuning and everything. So if you go to Google AI Studio and if you want to create a model which is fine tuned on your base data set only, so you import your Excel sheet or whatever you want, import an Excel sheet. This is just an example. This is no real time data. Let's consider this. This is just example of what it is and how it is. And you say what is your input column and what are your output columns. This is, let's example, this is output column, and then you import it. And then you choose which model to hypertune, and you can say that what how many times that hypertuning should happen. Batch size, whatever the batch size. So batch size will define how many in one go, how many data points will be going in, and rate multiplier. It is similar to gradient descent. So lower this the value, there is a better chance that your model will get a good accuracy. We are not going to hypertune it for sure, but you can do that, and that's how you can hypertune it as well. So that's what about was automatic applications. Another thing is it's free to use for now. Till you don't go to production, you can literally use these services for free to test it out in your applications, and then you can go to deploy it if you are happy. Now let's go to some coding part. So I will be showing with on Python and Jupyter notebooks, a simple chat application. It won't be deployed as well. It would be a single hosted notebook only, nothing more. Uh, but just in case if anyone is, yeah, please feel free to post all your questions here. I was expecting a question, but never mind. So what we will do is first we are going to import. This is the generative AI library by Google. You can install it by pip install Google generative AI. Another one is JSON to manipulate data. If you want to do something, the best part is you can use key value pairs, and that's how we usually do it. So I have imported JSON. I have used imported pretty print as well in case the output is too long and you want to print it line wise. You can use pretty print preprint. Request to send request to the Gemini API URL, and mime times in case we deal with images, we can also determine mime types, whatever mime type, whether it is a GPG or PNG before sending it, so that we know what we are sending. And this is a markdown. So you will see what markdown does. It will basically do give this type of outputs to you. So that's why markdown. Now, yeah, markdown. So you need to get your API key first. So what you have to do for getting API keys, you have to go to Google AI Studio. Then you have to create an API key for API. And if you, just in case, like this is the project, just create an API key in an existing project. You can create new one as well if you are a first time user, and then you get an API key. Then what you have to do is paste that API key here. It like if how we use in the env, how we use env variables, we cannot upload .env variables in Google Colab. So we have to use the services they provide for secret variables. So you have to upload your API key here and give a API secret a name, and then enable this to understand so that this notebook can have access to it. So do this. After then you should run this. Let me just run this one. After that you configure. So we imported GenAI here. So we are configuring it with our API key. I have kept temperature 9 for now so that we can have a good amount of variance in output. Then we have top P and top K1. So P represents probability and K represents K value. And I have kept max token as 204. So this is just a default argument which I got from here. So I have kept it like that only. I haven't made much of changes in it, but you can for your use case for sure. And I have kept max tokens for 2048. So if your use case includes a good amount of output, then you should increase this. Then I have kept safety settings as block, medium, and above. So any safety settings which violates medium, it will be blocked from giving an output. Then we are configuring the model, our Gemini model. You can keep any variable name here. I have just kept Gemini for our presentation purpose. You can even keep model. It's fine. Then we are creating a chat model. So Gemini.startChat, this is a method in it. So it will preserve your context. So every time we will send a prompt in here, they will have backend, they will have history of what's happening. And choice is 0. This is for while loop purposes. So unless choice is not equal to 2, this while loop will go on. That's why I have kept it. Now type any question. Hey, how are you? It will give you an output. And then it will ask that what is your choice. If it is, if you want to continue the conversation, press 1. If you want to end it, then press 2. Anything other than that will continue the conversation. So I have entered 3 for now. Hey, what is the weather today? Surat. Gemini is also connected to internet, so it can give you a real what? Yeah. So yeah. As I am not connected to internet. I think they changed it, but it was connected to internet as well. So it can give you a real-time data of weather and everything. You can see it here. Uh, yeah, see, it is connected to internet. I don't know why. I think they paused it from Google AI Studio. So you can do that. You can. This is just a simple chat application. It does not even have a UI. So you can have it. You can use it something like this. You can access that notebook. I have created that notebook. It is on GitHub as well. Just take a screenshot of it if you want. So yeah, that's all from my presentation. I did not kept it very long. I prefer to have a longer QA sessions that we can understand if there is anything I am missing. So let's go to that. No questions. And I go by this social media handle everywhere, be it GitHub, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, or even chess.com or email. Everything you can find me by this social media handle. And that's all from my end. If you have any questions, feel free to. What is want to use local model? I still did not. Do you mean to say that what if you want to use normal local model on device? Yes. Yeah, you can use open source models which are available. So like Gemma is open source available, Llama is also open source available. You can use it, but to run it locally, you will require a very high configuration. So you need to use quantized models for that, which can happen on your local machine. There is an application named Jam language model that can run language models locally. You can try that.
How many digits output set on the coding there are showing?
I did not got your question again. How many digits?
Set output there are
Oh,
mentioned.
max tokens, max tokens. Yeah, you
Yeah.
so I get yeah. So you can it has a context limit of I guess 8192. So you can keep according to that. So max output would be around 8192 to around 8200 tokens. But it totally depends on your use case.
But there are showing to Python and Swift language. There are implement in Node language, Node.js and
Uh,
Node.
I have not used them. I only work around Python. But if they are giving you that, you can customize the code according to.
Okay, thank you.
When you share the Excel, does it create a model which used to, let's say, a cat, dog recognition? It hyper tunes it. So it will tune the model and not create, but that model will be stored for our use case. So you can access that model via API. But yes, it can do that. It can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And HP gaming. Yeah. So there is an application named Jam. I'll share you the link to it. Jam. Another one is Olama. You can also use Olama, but Olama does not has uh, Olama does not has a very good UI. Gen does has. You can also use Gen or you can also use Olama, but Olama I don't think so. It is available for Windows. I used it in Linux when I was using Linux. Windows is still on beta state, so you may face many errors in it. Ways to grow existing fine-tuned models like GPT Store. Not for now. Not for Google Gemini, not for now. You can browse what you hypertune, but not others. tell about the evolution. So yeah, that Gen.ai, this is to run language models locally. Keep in mind it cannot handle many big models. So if you are expecting that you will be running Llama 70B via this on your personal computer, it won't happen. You can try Llama 7B or something. Any other questions? Okay, are there any problems? Uh, by Google for startups individual which offers free credit to the Gemini to validate ideas. Yes, it does. Drop me an email about this. I'll send you everything on that. I have shared my email. Share me or like it's called Google for startups. Share me your email. I'll share you everything. When I was joined to startup in Canada. They were also part of it. So I can help you with that. Any other questions? There are only chat answer or upload image. Upload images can also work. I'll show you. I do have a repository for it as well, so you can have a look at it. For this, we made Gemini Vision. It got removed from image. And just imagine this. This is just an example. This is no real-time data. You can use it function like this. Yeah, so it can work with it. And I'll share you a repository. I have implemented Python code for it. You can use it. Check. I have a few questions to send this one. Did I answer? Can it generate test data for our training models? Yes, it can. You need to keep prompts in such a way that it can. Sorry, can talk session. Yes, you can. But you need to basically give it what is input. This image is input. What should be the output? This is an image of cat around the graph like that. But it can. Any other questions? All right, then over to you, Mitesh.
Thank you so much, Jay. It was a very informative and valuable session for our all the joinings and attendees. So, okay, I'll now call our another speaker, Pranav. He is in TensorFlow user group Nashik's organizer. He's also a GSO contributor at SK Time. He's also open source contributor at Keras and Keras NLP. So I'll Pranav, please, you can you can go ahead with your presentation.
Uh, Hello everyone. Mitesh, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible as well as visible.
Yeah, awesome. So as Mitesh introduced me, I'm a co-organizer at TensorFlow User Groups Nashik, which is a community similar to GDG Nashik, backed by Google, and we are more focused on TensorFlow and AI related stuff, while GDG Nashik is more focused on the overall stuff that's Android, cloud, and AI too. So, and next, I previously got selected at GSOC as a contributor at SK Time. So my work there is to build forecasting pipelines based on time series and stuff. And yes, I've been contributing to open source projects like Keras, which is powered by TensorFlow, and that's about my introduction. And we'll get started with our session today. So I'll just share my screen. So I think my screen is visible to you all. Uh, yeah, so this is the title page of the presentation, and the topic on which we are going to talk about is Gemma and open models from Google. So while Jay was presenting his presentation on Gemini, some of you from the attendees asked that what are some solutions for on-device implementation of large language models. So yes, the answer to this is Gemma. We will see how Gemma solves this problem, and so let's begin. This is like an introduction to the whole Gemini and Gemma ecosystem. So if we begin from first over here, there is the Google Cloud infrastructure of GPUs and TPUs. So you can like rent GPUs and TPUs from Google Cloud infrastructure and run models on that. About that, there is model garden from Google. So TensorFlow also has a model garden which is integrated with the Google Cloud model garden, where you get first party models from Google, which are Gemini, like Palm, which on which Gemini is built. Then we have open source models also in model garden, and then we also have partner models like Llama and Anthropic and Mistral and all these. So we have partner models too. Next, the above layer is AI platform. So we have like if we go one level above, we have extensions to fine tune your model, to prompt engineering, build pipelines, and monitor all the stuff that's going with your model. And then we have like these two uh, parts where you can search using Gemini and have a conversation with Gemini. And like we have these use cases. So this one is for business use cases. This one is for developers, while these two are just for AI practitioners. So uh, so as you can see, Gemini needs a huge architecture to run. It's running on Google Cloud, which is powered by GPU, and then it has like so many layers, and it's hosted on Google Cloud and the Model Garden. So it's not efficient for someone to like download. You can't download Gemini, but run Gemini on their own. So they have to use the infrastructure provided by Google Cloud. So the not solution to this, but Google has brought an alternative to this, which is Gemma. So you can see Google's foundation models on Vertex AI. So as we talked about first party models that are from Google, and like third party models, you can say, which are not created by Google but are present on Vertex here. So these are like Claude and open models, open source models. Then you can see we have Gemma 2 present, which is family of lightweight state of art models. So Gemma 2 billion parameters and Gemma 7 billion parameters. So what does parameters mean? So uh, parameters is a measure of how much uh, how much training parameters does the model has, like on what state can you build the model and input data in it. So 2B is like a small compact model with less knowledge or less data, while 7B is some huge model, but it is still small as compared to Gemini and Gemini 1.0. So introducing Gemma, this is the branding image and logo for Gemma, which is also present on the Google site. So let's directly get into Gemma ecosystem. So we have Gemini Ultra, Gemini Pro, Gemini Nano, but our focus will be to know about Gemma and open models. So uh, Gemma has 2 billion and 7 billion uh, uh, variants, which I talked about. So let's go to next slide. Yeah. So this is an important slide. So Gemma is a family of lightweight models we saw earlier, responsible by design. So Google follows all the AI rules and regulations of creating a AI which is not imbalanced, racist, or throws any personal data out. So Google follows the responsible design. So if you ask Gemini about some Windows key, or if you ask Gemini about creating nuclear bombs, it won't answer that. Next, it has breakthrough performance. So we will see the benchmarks of Gemma compared to other competitors and models. Then it's multi-framework. So what I mean by multi-framework is there are many frameworks that support Gemma. So I would like to show you that. So if we go on Kaggle and we go on models, so you can see Gemma model card on Kaggle. So what I'm trying to tell you, it is multi-framework is you can use it in Keras, you can use it in PyTorch, you can use it in the Transformers library from Hugging Face, you can use it in C++. We have Gemma written in C2. You can use it in TensorRT LLM. So this is like an engine powered by NVIDIA. It's you can see over here. Then you can use it with TensorFlow Lite. So what TensorFlow Lite is? TensorFlow Lite is for edge devices. Edge devices means devices that are near to us. So mobile phone, Raspberry Pi, and stuff. This comes under the category of edge devices. So by using TensorFlow Lite, you can power them too. Then we have this other frameworks too. I don't know about them that much, but you can see it supports lots of frameworks and has support of community. So if someone is already using PyTorch and wants to use Gemma, he can directly use the Gemma version of PyTorch, and he can download this. As this model is open source, they can directly download this model and start working with it. I will show you how you can work with Gemma too. For now, let's get back to our slides. Uh, and responsible by design. So you guys might be thinking it's open source model, so anyone can download it and do some like changes in it and stuff. So yes, it's possible, but like when you try to download it, you sign a license of like terms and agreements. So if you do some bad stuff with the files of Gemma to make it harmful for users, you might get in problem with Google. And next, it's community driven. So it is open model, so many people come and do good stuff too. So like people can I saw a variation of Gemma which was tuned on biomedical and medical data set. So that model of Gemma was able to answer medical questions very clearly and precisely. So yes, it's community driven as it's open source. Now, next slide. So it has a context video, a window of 8K. As Jay said earlier, someone asked Jay about the token limits, and it was 8192 if I'm not wrong. So the context window of Gemma is 8K. Then it's text only model. This is a huge difference between Gemini and Gemma. As Gemini is multimodal, it means it can take inputs in the form of files, uh, images and videos directly. But Gemma is text only model, and it supports English only. So we don't it doesn't understand Hindi or any other native language. It's just English model. uh, Next, you can see the benchmarks. To have more confidence on benchmarks, if we go on ai.google.dev, you will be able to see the benchmarks there too. uh, let's see if we can find benchmarks. Yeah, so you can see the benchmarks of massive uh, language understanding. It's like uh, above the rest of the competitors like Mr. Llama, and you can change the uh, benchmarks too. So there are a couple of benchmarks on which large language models are evaluated. We will have a look at this further, but you can just go and play around with this and see what kind of benchmarks uh, and what scores does Gemma has on that. Uh, let's get back to our slides. Yep. So now, as I mentioned, that you can deploy Gemma on Vertex from Google, from Hugging Face. Vertex is from Google. Gemma is present everywhere as it's open source. So it's present on Hugging Face. It's present on Kaggle, present on GCP too. So for Google Cloud, for those who use Google Cloud, uh, they can also access Gemma through the model garden. I think this is the symbol of model garden. So they can go to model garden and use Gemma there. So yeah, and for if they want to just play around with Gemma, the model garden has notebooks. So as you can see, it's there's a notebook of PEFT fine tuning. So PEFT fine tuning basically means parameter efficient fine tuning. So what will happen is saving the costs, or by utilizing low resources, you will be able to fine tune your model for your own use cases. So earlier I mentioned about a Gemma which was able to answer medical question answers too. So that was a fine-tuned version of Gemma. So you can go and have a look at notebooks and maybe create a fine-tuned version of Gemma that answers questions regarding the city of Nashik and its tourism and stuff. So you will take the data of Nashik and fine-tune the Gemma model to have the understanding of Nashik too. So there are a couple of notebooks on how to deploy it on Vertex and how to deploy it on Google Kubernetes engine. So you can have a look at that. Then now let's get to assistant training pipeline. So I want you guys to see something. I will go to Hugging Face and let's get to Gemma. Gemma 7B. Fine. So on Hugging Face, you can use the inference API. So uh, let's see what I'm trying to tell over here. Um, so this is base Gemma. Fine. So if I ask base Gemma model, that is Google a DJ as it's rocking the GenAI party, it will try to complete that sentence by saying they are dropping some serious knowledge beats with their research and innovation. It's trying to complete the answer. It's trying to complete the sentence. It's not trying to answer them. So let's have a look. So if I say, hello, I'm Bumblebee, maybe the character from Transformers. I am from, and when I will tell it compute, it will just try to complete the sentence. So it just said, "Hello, I'm Bumblebee. I'm from UK, and I've been a long time fan of the show. I've been watching." So yes, you can see it's trying to just complete, not answer them. If I will ask him a question also, do you know Bumblebee? Still, it won't answer. It will just try to complete it. It is very popular and cute insect. So you can see Gemma, the base Gemma model tries to just complete the sentences. So how you can make it answer your questions and use it like Chat GPT or Gemini. So let's see how you can do that. You. So you can do this by assistant training pipeline, where you will do supervised fine tuning. So when I will do supervised fine tuning on, we will see what supervised fine tuning is. So when I will do supervised fine tuning on the model, it will start to answer the questions. Yes, Google is a DJ, and they are dropping knowledge bits with their research and innovation. So now you can see, instead of completing these sentences, it has started to answer my questions after supervised fine tuning. So the base Gemma, which we had over here, is changed to supervised fine tune Gemma, and it will try to answer the questions. The next is aligning. So in aligning, what we do is we try to collect human preferences. So sometimes you might have seen ChatGPT asking you, was this response like, are you satisfied with this response, or uh, how was the response? So you give feedback, yes, I was satisfied, or no. By collecting human preferences, we align the model. So if Gemma will, like, a supervised fine tune Gemma will give two outputs, and from that you will tell him this one is correct or this one is better one. So after aligning it, now you can see it has started to give correct answers. No, Google is an AI company. Comparing them to DJ emphasizes their exciting developments. So you can see, after aligning the supervised fine-tuned Gemma, it has become more mature in terms of giving answers. So by doing assistant training pipelines on base models like Gemma, you can tune it to answer by your preferences and use it for your use cases. So let's understand what pre-training is. So yes, we cannot do pre-training. It's just Google who can do pre-training, because we are GPU poor and Google is GPU rich. We don't have that much GPU to pre-train a model from scratch. So we all just have to, like, use the models that are already present and fine tune them. So let's see about supervised fine tuning. So how we will do supervised fine tuning? So the first thing which we need to do is load the data sets. So this is a data set present on Hugging Face by one of the Google developer experts, Rishi Raj. He has a data set named Samvad High.version 1. So what's there in the data set is content, role, and content, role assistant. So you can see there are questions, then answer to the questions, questions, and answer to the questions. So this data set has questions, and the role is assigned user. So who is first president of India? Suppose the user asks. So the model should come up with the answer. His name is Dr. Rajendra Prasad, as an assistant. So how you can make the base Gemma model an assistant is by using any data set that has the content and answer to that content, and also the roles assigned to it. So you have to apply the chat template. So the chat template of Gemma is like start of turn user and end of turn, start of turn model, and the answer to that. So when you take that chat template, like when you load this data and convert it into the chat template, and then you do supervised fine tuning on Gemma, which we saw over here. 7B model, which was just trying to like complete the sentences. When we will do supervised fine tuning on that, using using the training argument. So this is the supervised fine tuning trainer from Hugging Face. You can see it has the learning rate of 2.0 points, a really small number, and then we have gradient accumulation and a learning rate scheduler and stuff. So these are all the parameters that we use for fine tuning the model. Uh, for now, just try to understand ki, having these are some of the default parameters that are being used in industry to fine tune your model. So the base Gemma model will be supervised fine tuned using the dataset over here, and now we have to align them. So we had 3 steps over here, that we do pre-training, then we do supervised fine tuning, and then aligning. Fine. So we have like supervised fine tune our base Gemma model using the data set that's present here, which is question answer question answer. So the model will understand in what way he needs to uh, present its output. So when the model will see the data which has questions and answer to it, it will start to give the output in similar way, rather than just completing the sentences or finding the next word or token. So by aligning, for aligning, we have a modern technique, that's DPO, direct preference optimization. So what will happen is, we have this feedback data present on Hugging Face. So what will happen is, it will like present two outputs, and from that a human will choose one. So the human, suppose like this one. Uh, so one of the output will get rejected while the other one will get selected. So this will align the model in a way that how it should answer to the questions. So you can see this is not the correct answer. Yes, Google is a DJ. Google is of course not a DJ band or something. So the human rejected this one while the chosen one was this. So by this way, we can align the model in a specific like task. So we had this base model, then we super fine tune it to answer our questions. Then we aligned it to have answers of our preference. Fine. So that's how uh, direct optimization works. This is the formula for direct optimization. You don't need to have don't need to understand this for now. Just you can have a look at this. It's a sigmoid function over here. Uh, and the same training arguments, and then we train it on the DPO trainer, and we give it the preferences of yes no, and it will train on that. So yeah, after DPO, like there are other techniques too, which are from other universities like IPO, KTO, and stuff. uh, let's go to evaluation. So once we have this ready, we can start evaluating them on various benchmarks. So we have, for journal benchmark, we have multi-massive language understanding, which is representation of questions in 57 subjects. We have HELA swag evaluation for common sense. So by using HELA swag benchmarking, we understand the model is good with its common sense or not. Then we have human eval, which will try to generate Python code. We have this for mathematics. And you can see when Gemma was launched, Hugging Face has a leaderboard. So Gemma was like on the top of the leaderboard in 7B model uh, team. You can say the group of 7B models. So it was ranking first. Now it might have been changed. Let's see where is Gemma now, because many models have been released from that time. Where can I get open LLM leaderboard? I, I think many models have been launched after that, like uh, from Microsoft and Llama. I think Llama also has been launched after. I think I have to like add some para like multiple queries. Mhm. I think this is the leaderboard of public models. So you can see here 7 billion models and stuff. I think we need to change this. Select multiple queries on just 7B models. So in 7B we have a good number of models, and these are all public models. These are not the ones that are like launched by companies like Google and Microsoft. So yeah, people use different techniques and like use 2 3 models and create one model, so these models come in the leaderboard above. But we can have a look at the uh, leaderboards over here too, on Hella Swag and all these benchmarking uh, procedures. That's it. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me. I'll try to answer them all. Any questions? Uh, Niket doesn't has any questions. I'll just wait for some time, and if no one has any questions, we will move forward with the next session or the next thing that's planned for you guys. Okay, seems no one has any questions. Uh, Seems like you guys have understood everything and you don't have any questions. Any suggestions or pathway for beginners to start with all this model learning and using it? Yep. So for using these models, I'll show you. Uh, Yep. So to get started using these models, you can go on Kera's examples NLP. Uh, so there are bunch of notebooks present here. I will suggest you guys to have a look at this. So you can get started from here. So the first thing which we try to do, or what I tried to do while learning these models, was use these models for text classification. So you can have a look at these notebooks, and then there are like the API guide of Keras. Uh, we have code examples for computer vision and natural language processing. So you can have a look at that. Uh, Next thing will be the Hugging Face website. So over here there are a bunch of models. You can just go and pick one and see the model card over here on what things and how to inference it. Um the community has codes and various stuff, discussion channels which you can read. And yes, Then I think Hugging Face has also started its own blog, Hugging Face blogs. So you can have a look at this blog site where there are some awesome blogs on how to use LangChain with this. Like you can see, there is one blog on how to use LangChain with search models. So LangChain is used for utilizing for doing RAG on such models. So RAG means retrieval augmented generation. So you can use LangChain to like control the way model gives its output and stuff. So yes, I will suggest to read the Kera's examples guide for natural language processing. We have tons of as you can see over here. I just saw some examples which are really nice. Yeah, so you can have a look at the text classification with transformers example, and all those examples present here. A text extraction with BERT. So BERT is the like first generation model. It was I think it was uh, present at 2016 or 17. So yeah, this is like the base of all the models running today. Not the base, but the architecture by which BERT is powered is the base of all the models running today. That's transformer. So yeah, you can have a look at this guide of Keras. Are we near to AGI or superhuman like capabilities? Uh, what a question. I'm also not insane. Nope, we are not near to AGI. Uh, I recently saw GitHub released some new release in its Copilot, which was also able to do only. It was able to assist humans in task. It was not able to like take the whole task and complete it by own. So unless there is human intervention involved, we are not near to AGI. And I don't know what things happen at OpenAI or such companies. So yeah, if I meet Sam Altman, I will ask him that are we near to AGI? Someone who know how to use AGI will be superhuman. Yeah, you can see we and all of the persons here know how to use AI. So maybe we are superhumans. Okay, okay. So since you guys are out of questions, I would like to pass the session to Mitesh again. Thank you and thanks to GDG Nashik for having me. It was fun delivering a talk on Sunday, and hats off to you guys too for joining us on Sunday.
Right. Thank you so much, Pranav, for such an great and the informative session. It was like I guess everybody has learned so many things from you today. Okay, so now let's move to our next speaker, Ashutosh sir. Ashutosh sir is an CEO and the he's an CEO at Unnati Development and Training Center. He is having an 23 plus years of experience in IT industries. He is also an corporate and international trainer at Google. And today he'll be delivering the session on the Google Kubernetes Engine cluster, how AI is implemented using the Google Kubernetes Engine cluster and all. So over to you, sir.
Hey, hi all. Very good morning. I hope you can hear me and see my screen.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Mitesh, for my quick introduction. And yep, welcome to the build with AI session from Nashik guys online. Yep, that's again a good initiative by the Nashik people. So yeah, let me share my screen in the full screen mode. Yeah, so I'm here to deliver a talk on demystifying AI on the GKE. I think Jay and Pranav had done my job very easy today. I was listening to Jay's and Pranav's session, and they was talking about lot of models, lot of scenarios, uh, and whatever Jay and Pranav had discussed, how you can leverage the deployment of such kind of scenarios on the GK, because GPU, you need GPUs, TPUs to deploy all these uh, LLM models, Vertex AI, Gemini, Gemma, Hugging Faces, whatever. You need to deploy it on the some platform, right? And these are really costly. So I'm here to talk about a very useful feature uh, of GKE, that is Autopilot, where we will discuss on how these application can be deployed. Basically, AI-based applications can be deployed on the GKE stuff, right? So yeah, let me introduce myself first quickly. So yeah, my name is Ashutosh Sudhakar Bhakare. I'm a CEO of a company called Unnati Development and Training Center Private Limited. We have two offices in Aurangabad, which is now renamed as Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, and we have one office in Pune as well. I have total 23 plus years of experience in the training field, delivering corporate trainings, I believe, since last 15 plus years. Uh, Yep. Currently, I hold Google, Red Hat, and SUSE authorized trainer title. Currently doing consultancy for Google since last 2.5 years. So I'm delivering mostly GKE, AC, PCA, the PCNE courses for the Google people, or based on the Google trainings, what I usually get. I'm a RHCA, Red Hat Certified Architect. I'm a CKA, holding CKA, CKD, CKS, couple of Google certifications, and yeah, I'm holding some Rancher certifications, Rancher Manager certifications as well. Recently, I have been selected as a GDE, Google Developer Expert, in the, of course, cloud category. I'm a GDG organizer for Aurangabad. I'm an AWS user group leader, AWS community builder. I remember Docker community. So before like 9-10 years ago, I started this community with a vision of spreading open source awareness in the Aurangabad city. And yeah, you can see that I reached till GDE now. So of course, at this point, I would like to request all of you, like, try to give it back to the community, right? Contribution is really important. In any ways, you can do that, right? So find suitable topic, find suitable ways of doing it, and try to contribute, right? So yeah, these are some trainings which I delivered in the corporate world so far. Yeah, some of them are in Bangalore, some of them in Melbourne. I have been awarded as a best Red Hat trainer consecutive 2 times in a row, right? Uh, you might have seen that my common uniform, or common, you can say, casuals wearing is the common wherever I go. Sometimes, rarely, I used to have formals, but yeah, that's my style of dealing with it. Dealing with it. Yeah, let's go with the agenda. Uh, Maybe before I talk about the agenda, a quick poll for the audience, guys. Like, how many of you are aware of what is GKE, Google Kubernetes Engine, or what is Kubernetes? Maybe that helps me to set up the later on scenarios. How many of you are aware of? Okay, looks like, yeah, maybe. Fine. So let me try to set up a context in a GKE ecosystem also. So I think my agenda suits for this audience, right? So I didn't get a proper image for my agenda. That's why I put it this. So sorry for this. So yeah. So agenda in this discuss on Oh, nice. Good to know that, Nikhil. Fine. So yeah, looks like couple of people are aware of the GKE scenarios. No worries, we'll try to discuss for others as well. So, the agenda is where should I run my stuff, right? How you do the application. So here I'm considering application as in your GKE applications, sorry, AI based applications, right? How the orchestration works, what are the challenges, how GKE internally works, advantages of GKE. There are two offerings which GK does, that is standard and autopilot, that also we will discuss. What are the limitations of GKE and the use cases? Then who are the customers currently using the GKE? And then of course we'll talk about Gemma. We talk about Gemma on GKE. We will discuss about Qflow, how you deploy it on a GKE, and yes, we'll discuss Ray on GKE as well, right? So yeah, that's the agenda for the current meeting or the current session, guys, right? So yeah, let me try to get it ahead with the how I can deploy the application, right? So I think in most of my session I use this slide, I use this diagram. It is very commonly used diagram nowadays, and people will actually relate this. Uh, I can see maybe you might be a student or you might be a working professional, right? But one common thing comes in an ecosystem is how I can deploy my application or where I can deploy my application. That's where this cloud ecosystem, I remember initially this was nothing but an infrastructure as a service. But now it reached till container as a service, Kubernetes as a service, firewall as a service, storage as a service. You ask anything, it is as a service, right? Network as a service. I remember Accenture is using the AWS networking part for their routing ecosystem. So they are using intranet and internet routing for via the AWS networking stuff, right? So they are using network as a service. But anyway, wherever or whatever you use, the common a problem statement or the common ask is where should I run my application, right? And trust me, the disruption, the change, or the culprit in the current IT ecosystem who creates a disruption, right? Because I define an IT in a very single word, that is disruption. Disruption, that's it. Uh, disruption and change, these both things are two constants in the ecosystem. So containers is creating a disruption to deploy the application. And how you deploy the application initially, like before 20 years back it was compute, right? Before 10 years back it was instance. But now it's not only compute, it's not only instance. People are using Kubernetes for deploying the application so that they can get a clustering, high availability, load balancing kind of ecosystem on a container based scenarios. That is Kubernetes. Then we have Cloud Run, which is good fit for a stateless application. Kubernetes is good for stateful sets, whereas the Cloud Run is good for stateless applications, where you deploy the containers in a stateless manner, basically even serverless, right? That's the Cloud Run. Then we have a Cloud Functions. Cloud Functions is like a Lambda in AWS, where you trigger it on demand, like when you go to Flipkart or when you go to Swiggy and you do checkout and you do payment, right? That payment runs for 5 minutes or maybe 6 minutes, whatever. So that is basically a cloud function, right? It's a one-time ecosystem which get triggered. If something goes wrong, it will restart from the beginning, right? The payment process will restart from the beginning. That's the cloud function. So yeah, these are the ways of deploying the applications nowadays in the GCP scenario. Of course, there is one more way which is not there in the list, called App Engine. App Engine is like a source to application. So you have a source code, you just feed a Node.js or you just feed a Python code, right? It will go and create a Docker image for you. It will push it to artifact repo and it will run it on your container ecosystem, that is Cloud Run. that basically involved the entire source to application process. It even has a cloud built uh, service in between, so that whenever there is a change in a Docker file, I can achieve the CI/CD. It will build, I will create a trigger, it will build an image, push it to artifact, and then run it on a my cloud run ecosystem. Even I can deploy it on a GKE also, or Kubernetes also. Right? That's the app engine, which is not there in the slide. But yeah, these are the 5 ways of deploying the applications as of now. Out of that, we are using Kubernetes, uh, in which we will basically do an orchestration of my application or orchestration of a container, right? So what is orchestration? I have very common analogy. I have very simple analogy so that most of you will understand, because we all are coming from a college and a schooling ecosystem. So we know this analogy. So I'm not taking much time on this because the agenda is not about Kubernetes, but I'm just trying to set up a context of my discussion. Okay. So let's imagine a case that we have a classroom. We have a couple of classrooms. There are some students, there are some teachers. Of course, not some, one class, one teacher, right? They are teaching to these many students, right? So if you can see, there are 12 students as of now, and there are three class teachers. And now when I say student, teacher, right? What if one of the class teacher is not using, or it's not coming tomorrow, right? Ideally, these class teachers are not in sync. They are not in sync. So you will see that these students will enjoy the break. They will go and play on ground, right? That's very simple, right? But that is not going to be happen, right? Because of course, student has a curse and they will not enjoy the schools and colleges anyhow, especially in the lectures ecosystem. Yeah, just joking. So what we need to do is we need to put one more logic in between, that is a lady, right, who will manage these class teachers. So we are not replacing the class teachers, right? But we need someone who does management of it, right? That is basically a HOD, right? So if one of the class teacher is not coming, HOD will intimate the student to shift to other classes. I'm assuming that there is no extra class teacher. I'm assuming that, right? So that's basically the orchestration power what HOD has. So HOD can do central management, HOD will do load balancing, and HOD will do the high availability also, right? And then if you see, it becomes a college, right? Earlier it was not a college, it was like a tuitions, a private tuitions, where individual teachers are taking tuitions at their home, for example, right? So yeah, that's the basic of orchestration, right? You might be thinking on why we are discussing this, what's logic between this and our discussion. So it's very simple. This. So we have classroom, which can be an instance, my VM, my cloud instance, cloud VM, the host, my bare metal machine, whatever. That's a classroom. Students are nothing but the containers, right? And we have something called teacher, which is like a Docker or a container D. Docker container D is a runtime, is a software which manages the containers, right? Like a teacher. Teacher manages or teach students. In the same way, Docker or container D is basically a software, is basically a library which manages the containers on a single host. You cannot manage them over the multiple hosts, right? So we have class teacher on each host or each classroom. In the same way, we have Docker or container D on each classroom. To manage them centrally, we need Kubernetes master, right? So K8s is a orchestration tool which manages the entire nodes centrally, rather entire container centrally, load balancing and high availability of a container is managed. Technically speaking, we don't say containers in your Kubernetes ecosystem, right? But we say something called pod. Now, what is pod? pod is basically a wrapper on top of container. Pod is like a uniform of a student, right? Which tells that this student is coming from the same college. The student is representing from the same college, right? Yeah, that's the orchestration, right? And we have, or Google has a managed Kubernetes ecosystem, that is Google Kubernetes engine, right? Where you provision the nodes, right? And then you deploy your application in a various way. That's the GKE for us. That's the Kubernetes or managed Kubernetes for us. So there are two ways. One is a native or cloud native Kubernetes, where you provision the VMs from scratch and then deploy them on the, you deploy the software, you deploy the KubeADM, you install kubelet, you do it from a manual work. That is something, a cloud native stuff, right? Which is complex, right? So you get something called managed Kubernetes, that is Google Kubernetes engine, right? Yeah, that's the Kubernetes engine for us, managed by Google by default. So it has a lot of logical advantages like auto upgrade, auto scaling. It does load balancing, IAM policy, that is RBAC. Because even monitoring an RBAC is one of the complex scenario when you deploy Kubernetes on-prem, right? So yeah, that's the Kubernetes for us by Google. I can see one question, but anyway, even if anyone else has having any question, let's take a pause and take the Q&A for a couple of minutes. So I can see a question from Purvesh: how you differentiate between K8s distros like K8s, K3s, RKE? Nice. Purvesh, very nice question. GKE is a managed Kubernetes cluster. K3s is a lightweight Kubernetes cluster, which is done or which is used for the IoT or edge devices, because they need a lightweight resource to be run. So we use K3s. That is by SUSE Rancher. SUSE. So SUSE acquired an organization called Rancher, Purvesh. So K3s, RKE, that is Rancher Kubernetes engine, is again a managed Kubernetes engine, like MKE, Mirantis Kubernetes engine, like AKS, like GKE, like EKS. These all are managed, right? And then to manage all these ecosystems centrally, we have Rancher Manager. So you can have K3s, RKE2, RKE, GKE, AKS, normal Kubernetes scenario, and you can get a single dashboard to manage it. That is SUSE Rancher Manager, Purvesh. Yeah. Anyone else having any question on the GKE part? Yeah, maybe. Then let's continue with the next discussion what we have. These are some GKE customers. So if you go to GKE official documentations, and there you see a lot of customers. So I pulled a couple of them. Couple of famous customers like Sky TV, OTT platform, Wati for API, Cars24. We all know Cars24. Blah blah. We all know LG Electronics, Pizza Hut. These are the customers what we have in terms of the GKE ecosystems, right? Couple of customers. Now coming to advantages of GKE, as I said, it's a fully managed, right? And even there is something called on-demand deployment, that is GKE Autopilot, right? We have Autopilot, which helps us to do a billing, because see cost. So Autopilot is pay per pod. If you delete a pod, your invoicing will stop. Whereas standard is pay per node. So if you run a node and if you're even not deploying a pod, still you will get an invoice or billing. Per second billing will happen on a compute because of the, of course, the node provisioning what you're doing. That is standard. I will come to that in next slide. Then we have, of course, logically, it is having a good compliance ecosystems. It supports HIPAA compliance, PCI compliance, most of the compliance it supports. it has security because of IAM, right? And the control plane is managed by the Google ecosystem itself. So it is reliable in terms of the high availability also. So even node upgradations is very easy in a GKE scenario. Auto scaling of a node. So Google Kubernetes Engine supports 4 logical ways of scaling. One is cluster auto scaling, one is node auto provisioning, third is HPA, horizontal pod auto scaling, and vertical pod auto scaling as well. So yeah, these are the advantages of scaling what you get. Then auto repair is there, so it checks the health of a node, right? And if there is something which can be fixed at a OS level, it will fix it, or it will terminate that instance and launch a new instance for you, right? By default, it has excellent logging and monitoring features, right? So you don't need to install an ops agent on a GK node. It's pre-installed and pre-configured, right? Then again, as I said, CI/CD, it get integrated with a build triggers, cloud build triggers, and then you can use an artifact repo, and that can be deployed on a GKE ecosystems. Built-in IAM support, of course, for the RBAC stuff. So you don't need to create a service account in a Kubernetes. You can use your IAM users. It has predefined GKE roles. You can customize the roles, and you can even customize it at a GKE level also. So yeah, that's pretty much logical in terms of IAM. Last advantage in my list is volume provisioning. GKE supports snapshots. So we have a custom resource definitions. We have something called CRDs, right? So when you say CRDs, what happens is these are useful in terms of adding some custom application. So by default, GKE supports a custom resource definition with a volume snapshot. So you can take a backup of a PV, and whenever you need, you can restore it, right? So maybe just in case, if you want to understand little more about it, I had written one article for our Google Cloud on the same. So you can refer that. I have pasted the link also in the chat window. So yeah, these are the advantages of GKE. And as I said, there are 2 offerings of what GKE does. One is standard and one is autopilot. Actually, to be very precise, there are 3 versions of Kubernetes: standard, autopilot, and enterprise. Enterprise is also known as Anthos nowadays, right? So enterprise is a EOL. The naming convention they are not using now. They are using Anthos. But yeah, it's pretty much in an enterprise ecosystem. So I'm not bringing that in my slide, right? So yeah, standard and autopilot. Standard, as I said, you pay per node, right? So you need to provision a node in advance. You need to understand the capacity planning, right? And then you deploy the application whenever needed. But the cost will basically get added to your invoice based on per node ecosystems, right? This is not a good fit ecosystem for our AI applications also. Like I want to do some testing. I want to do some POC for my AI applications, or I want to run some models, right? You know, once the model is completed, why I should worry about my nodes, right? So for that, we go with autopilot, right? Node gets provision on request. You say, I need to create a pod with my specific ecosystem. Let's say I just want to run a pod with a, let's say, very, very basic stuff like linear regression, a simple program I have written in a Python, and I want to deploy it. So why I should deploy an instance in advance? So autopilot will help you. You say kubectl apply -f deployment or pod name. In a backend, it will go and spin the nodes for you. It will go and request a new node, and then you deploy the pod on it, right? And the billing cycle happens via per pod. So yeah, this is very, very logical for most of the POC scenarios and the scenarios where AI-based applications are getting triggered, are getting deployed on request, right? So these are very commonly used ecosystems nowadays in terms of GKE autopilot, right? There is a catch here. So if you see the capacity of standard and autopilot is capacity of standard is 15,000 nodes, and you can run around 4 lakhs containers on per cluster, right? Whereas in Autopilot, you can run 25,000 containers, right? But yeah, I think 5,000 nodes is also a good amount of nodes what we usually or what we can have, right? So yeah, that's the quick comparison between standard and Autopilot what we have. Use cases, coming to a very logical discussion where you can use the GKE for AI and ML operations. You can use it for data processings. Uh, you can use it for online gaming, right? I remember Pokemon Go, right? Uses GK, right? So it is one of the famous game what we had, right? I remember like couple of years back how everyone was addicted to that game, right? Yeah, I saved myself from that wave, right? I fortunately never tried that game in my on my mobile anyway. So yeah, it's good for heavy load applications also because it has a high availability features as well. So yeah, so coming to AI ML operations and how you can deploy it, right? So I think Pranav already had discussed on Gemma stuff, so I don't want to get into a deep dive of this, but yes, you can use. So I think it is launched in Feb. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm very bad at history, but it is announced in Feb. Maybe launched before that, but I was reading some blogs. So there I found that it was announced in Feb by Google. So it is basically a open model, good for doing a research and trying a few things for experimental purpose, right? It is based on Vertex AI, right? And you can deploy it easily on the GKE ecosystem, right? As clarified, it has two models, 2 billions and 7 billions pre-trained models, what we have. It supports Colab, Kaggle, Notebook, PyTorch, Keras, Hugging Faces, whatever you ask, it supports all. You can build it and deploy it on a Vertex AI and deploy it on a GKE using an NVIDIA GPU. That's really nice of the GKE feature what you have, right? The only catch is Autopilot by default doesn't provide or provision this. So you need to do some tweak to your deployment. I will show you that also. So of course, it has a lot of models in the Vertex AI, right? It helps you to deploy and generative AI app for a lightweight task like a text generation, like a summarization, Q&A, right? I think that's where most of the enterprises are also using the GenAI for their internal communications, or rather internal services or use cases. Like when you call to a customer care and you ask that I need an ICICI Bank branch near to my home, or I need a SBI branch contact details which is near to my home. So they just go and put some search saying that, okay, this is a pin code, this is the area code, whatever, and it get pulled from a bunch of PDFs, right, which is getting used as a database, right, and then it search from that PDF and give it to you, right. Give it to a call center guy and he or she will tell you the details of it, right? Like that, people are using it. I remember health insurance companies are using them, using GenAI in these kind of ecosystems, right? Even car service, maybe all mechanical vendors, all Maruti, Swift, Maruti, Mahindra, Hyundai, whatever, they are also using these kind of ecosystems. Mostly the searching kind of algorithm, right? Even this enables research and development for a lightweight models which can be customized, right? It supports real-time GenAI use cases with low latency. Again, you can use AI applications for all sizes, right? That's the advantage of the Gemma library what we have in terms of GKE, right? So my inclination is not towards the Gemma ecosystem only. My discussion is technically inclined towards Gemma with GKE, on GKE, right? So how you deploy it? So GKE provides a tool to build a custom applications, right? uh, you can deploy the Gemma directly on a GKE to create their own GenAI based applications, right? You can deploy custom applications, fine tune the model in a container ecosystems, right? I think before all GKEs, I remember way back, I don't like 5 to 6 years back, I was telling most of my students saying that it's all containers, where you should learn how you write a Docker file and how you push a image to a Docker hub and run it as a container, right? So once you got anything on a container, you can deploy it on GKE also, right? So GKE delivers all these things in a very logical ecosystems which provide GPUs, as I said, and TPUs also. And the best part is you don't need to worry. You deploy it and it takes care of auto scaling also. You have an enterprise application deployed on a GenAI or using Gemma, you deployed it on a GKE, right? It you set a threshold value. You say, okay, if by 70% resources of my node used, add one more node. That's it. So auto scaling will help you to leverage the high availability ecosystems also, right? That's the advantage of Gemma on the GKE ecosystems. As I said, it supports the logical GPUs. So it has a uh, uh, machine type, which is C3, C2. So I think I have just bookmark one URL, so I can share this to you also. Here it is. So here you will see this C3 machine type series, right, where you use fourth generation AMD processor, and it is a titanium hardware with a 100 Gbps and 200 Gbps network, right? And you can see it supports up to 360 vCPU, right? 360 vCPU, very small number, right? uh, yeah, you need a couple of bucks to buy these 360 vCPU. Am I right? And you need a couple of rupees to buy 288, 2080, 880 GB of memory, right? DDR5 memory, isn't it? Yeah, you're joking. So of course, so it's too costly, and Google has all this hardware with them. So they have C3 machine series, which is this, right? This is Intel, right? And the earlier one was the AMD processors, right? Even Google has one more thing is NVIDIA GPU. So they are using NVIDIA GPUs for and yeah, yeah. And you can tell your GKE autopilot to provision these kind of GPUs, right? So here, check this. So this is where the logic comes in. Like if I have a pod which has some GPU based container, but how it goes and provision the node which is NVIDIA. So here, so you use node selector. This is a takeaway from this, guys. Check. So the takeaway is you put a node selector which goes and provision a node from that CPU type, right? That's the logic of the GKE autopilot, right? Even you have one more example here. So sorry, I think my heading is missing here. So here, see, machine families C3. So like NVIDIA, you can even request for C3 also. Right? So yeah, this is how you can basically leverage the autopilot to deploy your application. And by the way, guys, this image name here can be your own custom image, right? That's up to you what you are creating. Yeah, any question till this? Maybe just a few second pause. Yeah, looks like no questions. So then let's move on to the Kubeflow. It's another platform. It's another ecosystems, or it is basically ML models, which is Kubernetes native. They are meant for a Kubernetes ecosystems. It has a built-in Jupyter notebook. It uses multi-user isolation supports. It uses workflow orchestration. You can use it on a Azure, AWS, GKE ecosystems. Yeah, this is the complete architecture of your Kubeflow. Have a look. So it has operators, it has PyTorch, it has TensorFlow, it has pipelines. Yeah, you can use Keras, you can use Prometheus for monitoring, you can use Isito, right? Skitlearn is there. A lot of things are there. That's the ML tools can be deployed on a Kubernetes ecosystem, right? That's one of the most important advantage of the Kubeflow on the GKE scenario, right? Then we have Ray. Technically, sometimes it is also known as KubeRay, but yeah, Ray is a general purpose computing framework for a set of libraries for a large scale data processing model, which does reinforcement learning, which does model serving, right? So it has RL lib for reinforcement learning, Ray tune for hyperparameter tuning, disrupted deep learning is there. Then you can use Ray data for pre-processing. So yeah, a lot of logical ecosystems you can use for the Ray on the GKE scenario, right? And yeah, this is the architecture of Ray. It has native libraries, it has data processing, it has training, it has ML flows, it has analytics, it supports Airflow. That is again an GCP scenario what we have, right? Yeah, I think I had done with my discussion so far, right? So if you have any question, if you have anything to add it to my discussion, please feel free. I can see one question. I will say yes and no both, Pranav. As a trainer, I always say that container is also a Linux. Uh, Better to have a Linux knowledge. I would not say Red Hat knowledge. Linux-based operating system, Pranav. Any Linux-based operating system knowledge you can have. Yeah. Any other question? Yeah. Welcome, Pranav. Yeah. Looks like no questions for me. I have shared my LinkedIn profile also in a chat window. And yeah, thank you so much for listening to me patiently. Thanks, Amay. Thanks, Mitesh. Thanks the entire GDG, the Nashik, GDG Nashik for uh, giving me an opportunity to have a talk here. Thank you so much. No, Pranav. It's about hybrid cloud, Pranav, to be very honest. You should not concentrate on a product. Uh, you should concentrate on a technology. uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, thank you so much, Ashutosh sir. It was very informative session on, and you shared so many of things about Kubernetes and all. So I guess everyone has learned so many things. For all the attendees, we will be sharing this video recording on the GDG Nashik YouTube channel. So after the session, in some time, you can find the recordings over there as well. So who joined late, they can like access the recording from the YouTube channel. Right. If anybody has any questions to Ashutosh sir, Jay, Pranav, we'll wait for more 5 minutes for any question, and then we can wrap up the session. I guess.
Yeah, I think Pranav Boite is typing something.
Pranav, you can unmute your mic and you can
Yeah.
ask as well if you're comfortable with that.
And you can ask in any language,
Yeah.
apart from like we know. A roadmap for a cloud engineer or architecture. So maybe a different context, Pranav. I'm not sure if I should take that question or you're asking to someone else. But if I want to answer it, it's very simple. Uh, Start with a basic uh, cloud ecosystems, whatever like a GCP has a ACE, and then find a suitable professional certifications, whether you want to do a ML, DevOps, networking. So that path you have to select, Pranav, according to your interest and according to your inclination.
I hope, Pranav, you got your answers. Okay, then I guess there are no more questions, so we can wrap up this session. Thank you so much, Ashutosh, sir, Jay, Pranav, for the valuable information you shared today. And thank you so much to all the attendees who joined Missile Day, who joined on a Missile Day. Like basically in the Nashik, Sunday is basically a Missile Day, and people took time and then joined this session. So that is great. In future, we also are planning more events on the build with AI and all of the things. We initially planned for offline event, but due to the elections and all, we had to move this to the online. But as we got so many feedbacks to for the offline event, so we'll definitely consider that and we'll surely plan something offline as well. And I guess
Yeah, I'm
that's
waiting to have a Nasik missile since long.
yeah. Sorry, please do come to Nashik, and we'll arrange more events, and then that way you can come to Nashik, and then we
That is what I'm saying. Last time I missed it because our GDG event wrap up late, na?
right, huh?
So
Exactly.
that's very good.
The dev fest.
Yes,
Yeah, we'll definitely plan something.
for
For
sure, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, I guess we are pretty much done with this session today, and thank you so much once again. Thank you so much to everyone, and we'll keep you. We can follow our social media. You can join the Nashik developer group for the future updates and all of the things. We'll share the link in the chat box to join the event. Uh, just a minute. So I've shared the WhatsApp group link in the chat box. So who is not the part of the Nashik group, then they can join. So that way you'll be updated. Will be updated with the all the latest events, details, and all of the things. Right? And recording will be available on the YouTube channel. That will we will share the link in the group as well. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you all.
Have a good day. Yeah.